fuck out of bed, bitch. Go. Get up and get the guy go. Time to wake up, bitch. Get up.
What is going on, world? Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Morning Spread right here on the Betting News Network. I'm your host, Nate Hornung, better known online as Shaggy Bets. And, folks, once again, I'm alone today. All right, there is nobody in the basement helping me out. I am pressing the buttons by myself. Now, I had plenty of help setting this up, setting up the studio, setting up the stage, getting the graphics, getting the banners. Plenty of guys helping me out in the shadows, getting this all set up. However, for this next 59 minutes or so, it's just me. I'm pressing the buttons. We're all alone. That is okay. You know why? Because our producer, Alex, is bettering himself, all right? He's back in college. He's back in school. We are all about education, all right? College classes are starting back up. Alex is getting a world full of information from UNL. So, no Alex today. It's just me. But that is A-okay. We're here on the Morning Spread, live and alive here on the Betting News Network with plenty to talk about today as week 0 of college football inches 1 day closer. Saturday begins 8 games of college football action on this week 0 slate, kicking off the football season, which means NFL is 1 week closer as well. We are, 2 weeks from tomorrow? 2 weeks from tomorrow, we will have NFL on our screens, that opening game on Wednesday night between the Seahawks and the Patriots. A Super Bowl rematch in the opening game of the NFL season next 2 Wednesdays from now. We'll have some NFL. We got NFL preseason week 3 this weekend as well, starting on Thursday. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to get into, including plenty of soccer action as well, because we have Leagues Cup returning tonight. We were dealing with phase 1 of the Leagues Cup a couple of weeks ago. We have our final 8 teams. We've got 4 sides from Liga MX. We've got 4 MLS clubs as well competing in the quarterfinals of the Leagues Cup. Those matches begin tonight. We've got 2 today. We've got 2 tomorrow. And you know what I should do right here, right now, is figure out the damn format of this Leagues Cup, because I believe these were just 1-match contests. I don't believe it was a 2-leg thing, but I might be wrong. Let's figure it out. Nope, all knockouts, single elimination. So we've got quarterfinal matchups tonight in the Leagues Cup. These are single elimination matches, and we are not going to have any extra time. All right, just like in phase 1 of the Leagues Cup in those group stage games, if things were tied after 90 minutes, they went straight to a penalty kick shootout, right? You needed to decide a winner then and there. That's exactly what they're doing in the knockout rounds as well. They're not going to do the traditional 2 15-minute periods of extra time. Nope. If it is tied after 90 minutes, teams are going to go directly into a PK shootout to figure out a winner. That is true for the quarterfinals, for the semis, and the final and third place matches. All of those single elimination, if tied after regulation, matches will proceed directly into a penalty kick shootout, no extra time whatsoever. So that's what we're dealing with tonight on the pitch. We got Leagues Cup action. There's plenty of other European soccer as well. Carabao Cup kicks off with plenty of championship sides. There's a couple of EPL sides on this slate as well. I'm going to hold off, especially in these early rounds of the Carabao Cup. Only second-round matches right now, so I'm just going to hold off, but plenty of afternoon action for all you on the pitch over in England. Those matches kicking off at 1 p.m. Central all the way up until 2 p.m. Central, so plenty of action in the Carabao Cup. There's also a La Liga matchup as well. Valencia taking on Real Betis. You guys know me. Going to hold off of that one. No need to get involved in the other European leagues that we just don't focus on because I don't have the bandwidth for it. Straight up, don't have the brain power. There's plenty of Saudi League action as well, actually beginning in the next hour. It looks like some Saudi Pro League going off. We got UEFA Champions League qualifying as well. Everyone's favorite darling, Bodo Glimt, in action today, only needing a 1-goal loss to move on, up 3-1 on aggregate as they host their opponent today. And that is about it. Obviously, plenty of other soccer on the schedule. Argentinian Primera B, Brazilian Serie B, if you'd like, but nothing for me. We'll just be focusing on those two Leagues Cup quarterfinal matchups tonight. We've got Monterey taking on the Chicago Fire in Illinois at SeatGeek Stadium in Bridgeview. And then we've got Leon taking on Real Salt Lake. And for whatever reason, this game is at the home of the Colorado Rapids in Commerce City outside of Denver. Not sure why it's being played at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, but neither team hosting that matchup. Leon and Real Salt Lake both on a neutral site, whereas Chicago gets to host Monterey this evening. So we're going to get into the Leagues Cup. We're going to get into a full slate of MLB baseball. I do have best bets for the MLB already out there at bettingnews.com. You can peep those scribbles. We're going to get into college football as well. PJ and I are recording our second episode of Study Hall tonight. Should be out tomorrow for you, breaking down all of our Week 0 best bets. I've already got one out there at bettingnews.com. You can go peep those scribbles, look at the opening odds and how the odds have moved for those Week 0 matchups. Kind of like we did yesterday, just discussing, Florida State opened as a 28-point favorite. Now they're favored by 31. The totals moved down, blah, 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 all that stuff. You got to take that into account when capping these Week 0 matchups because the lines have been out for months, people. 4 months. These lines dropped, I believe, back in May, maybe even in April. But these lines have been out all summer long. They've been getting bet and moved all summer long. So it is very important to at least have an idea of where they started, where they are now, where the money's coming in, how is it being influenced, that kind of thing, because that can make it so much easier to place a winning bet. So we're going to look at Week 0. Like I said, Study Hall episode 2 for the Week 0 best bets coming out tomorrow. We are going to be recording that tonight. We're going to get into some MLB bets. We're going to get into some Leagues Cup. And I think that about covers it. It looks like there's got to be some WNBA today, right? Yep, 3 WNBA games today as well, starting at 6, 7, and 9 o'clock Central. We got Chicago taking on Connecticut. We got Portland taking on Dallas. We got Washington taking on Phoenix. You know me. I'm going to hold off, but come on back for Afternoon Betspresso this afternoon, and the boys will get you right on the WNBA. 3 games tonight. Austin fam, welcome to the show. Austin, if you got some moves on the dub, I'm willing to hear them. I am absolutely willing to tail on the W from yourself. So if you got anything early in those 3 WNBA matches, please let me know. If not, come on back for Betspresso. The guys will get you right. What else, folks? What else? Bisney, pay attention to class, brother. You are literally in class right now. I get that it's syllabus week. Maybe you're already out of class. Maybe you have one of those professors. Those were the best professors in college that understood syllabus week was indeed that. It's syllabus week. Give you the syllabus, let you out of class 10 minutes in. Hey, go read the syllabus. That's your homework. See you next class. Those are the best kinds of professors, without a doubt. But Bisney, pay attention, sit in the front row, ask questions, all that good stuff. All right, but we could distract you a little bit by playing some GeoSports that we're going to do here in a little bit, making sure I got all the housekeeping taken care of. I believe so. Folks. I did add to my college football portfolio. We did dubs and L's yesterday for the Kansas State Wildcats. I added them to my card. Kansas State over 8.5 wins at plus 132. Had this not been plus money, I would have laid off of it. There's been a couple other win totals that I've been enticed to add to my portfolio. Haven't done it mostly because of the odds. Most of those other bets I was looking at in the minus 130, minus 140 range. Don't feel like I need to add more for that price on my card. But Kansas State over 8.5 wins plus 132. That's worth a unit to me. I only see 3 losses max on this schedule. Very, very easy schedule for the Kansas State Wildcats. I would be more inclined personally to take their win total over rather than them to win the Big 12. You can get a great price for them to win the Big 12, 19-1, maybe even 20-1 in some spots. But again, you are not going to play BYU, Texas Tech, or Utah during the regular season. You're likely going to see one of those teams in the Big 12 championship if you make it there. Yes, you would be holding a great number. at 19-1, 20-1, whatever it may be, with K-State on the other side of that Big 12 championship game. You're going to get a better number, or you're going to have a better number at 19, 20-1 than whatever K-State would be in that game. However, you still need them to win, right? You would be in a position to hedge if you'd like, but I'm much more confident on them going over their 8.5 win total, because 9-3, they might not make the Big 12 championship, but cash in our plus 132 win total bet. So I'm all on board on the Kansas State Wildcats over 8.5 wins this season, plus 132, best number I found on the Blue Book. So that's what we added to the college football portfolio. We now have 7 win totals. We've got 7 win totals, 3 overs, 4 unders, and then we've got 2 longer shots on teams to win their conference. We've got UTSA to win the American and Western Michigan to win the MAC. But you guys already knew all of that if you watched episode 1 of Study Hall this past week, episode 2 dropping tomorrow. No me gusta ir a clase. You don't like in the class? Not going to try and read that one. Yeah, not going to try and read that one. Don't even know if I could pick out that language, Alex. Can anyone pick out this language? The backwards in is kind of throwing me off. And it also looks like there's a 4 in there. Don't know that 4 is used in any words, but nevertheless, Alex enjoying himself in class. He doesn't like to go to class. Ear to go. Thank you, Bob. You're right. Ear. I know the verbs. The verbs in Spanish, you end in ERIR or AR 2. You have to add 2 in front of that verb. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. Apparently that's Russian. That makes sense. Can't read Russian. Never tried. Can't do it. All right, folks. Let's get into some fun before we get into some bets. Since we do have Alex in here, I know he's been waiting for us to pull up the old GeoSports questions written today by our friend Kendall Baker again. So let's see if we can get a perfect score without the man Bisney's help. Bisney, there's no sook here. No reason to sabotage. All right, let's have a clean, fair game. All right, let's do it. Let's get this up on the stage. Let's do some GeoSports. See how we do. The Big Ten school based in this city is ranked number 1 in the preseason AP poll for the 9th time in program history. That's Columbus. 1 down, 3 miles off. OSU opened the 2026 season atop the AP poll for the 9th time in program history. Their first preseason number 1 since 2015. Only Oklahoma has been preseason number 1 more often. PJ had a great stat that I'm going to butcher, but I don't think a number 1 overall team has won the national championship in quite some time. Preseason number 1 overall, I believe they have not won the national championship in quite some time. BJ gave me that exact stat on Study Hall. You can go peep that on the Betting News YouTube, but I believe it was somewhere in that ballpark. Basically, ranking number 1 in the AP preseason poll, not a good sign for the rest of your season. We'll see if the Buckeyes can switch that trend this year. Question number 2. 87 years ago this week, the first televised MLB game was broadcast from Ebbets Field in this city. This is definitely something I should know, and I've just got absolutely no clue. This is definitely something I should know. No idea. Mine's going to like Chicago. I don't think that's right. Chat's being silent. Not giving me any help. It's okay. New York. That also makes a whole lot of sense, Kadar. I'm assuming New York City. I would assume New York City. I don't know if it. I mean, it's probably not on in the Manhattan Strip because I mean, Brooklyn. Pretty sure that would totally make sense. All right, I like Brooklyn. Let's find Brooklyn. Manhattan. The Bronx. This is Queens, and this is Brooklyn down here, because that's Staten Island. I think that's kind of the middle of Brooklyn. Or do I have my boroughs off? That's Manhattan. That's Staten Island. Queens is right next to it. And I want to say the Bronx, because Harlem's up here. And then Brooklyn, this southwest side of Long Island. I think that's what we're going to roll with. See how close we are to Brooklyn. Thank you, Kadar. Thank you, Kadar. It looks like it was actually on the Manhattan. It was in Manhattan. But New York, in 1939, NBC's experimental station W2XBS aired a Reds-Dodgers doubleheader with Red Barber calling the action off 2 cameras. It was the first MLB game ever televised, 1939. Here we go. 30 years ago this week, Tiger Woods turned professional after playing 2 seasons of college golf at this university. Fuck, why can I never find Stanford? There's San Fran. I'm pretty sure it's north of San Francisco, but I might be making that up. Austin, where's that California geography? I'm in dire need of finding Stanford, California. Moraga, California. I guess the campus is technically in Stanford. That's where the address is. San Francisco. That's LA. I want to say it's north of San Fran, but I do not have a good guess. Well, is it just this guy down here? Just south of the San Fran area? North Cal, out of my area. That's okay, Austin. That's okay. I kind of like where we've got it. We'll zoom out. That's where we have Stanford, kind of just south of the San Francisco area. We know for a fact this big guy's LA. We know for a fact that guy's San Francisco. I was not seeing anything coastal north of San Fran that I liked. We discovered that's like Sacramento, I think. I'm pretty sure I like south of San Fran. I do as well, and I'm pretty confident it's like coastal, which that checks both of those boxes. Let's roll with it. Let's see what happens. Oh, it really is just south of San Fran. It really is on the bay, basically in the San Jose area. Stanford, California. There it is. 55 miles off. That's okay. Woods left after 2 seasons and announced his pro turn in late August 1996 with a Nike deal and the famous Hello World line. He won 2 of his first 7 events as a professional. Tiger Woods, there it is. All right, note to self. San Fran, right there. Right there. We're going to remember that. We're going to remember that guy. Stanford. San Fran's up here. Stanford, right there, just west of San Jose. Note to self. UNC and TCU kick off their college football season on Saturday in this city, where a pint comes with a harp on the glass. Dublin. How close to the coast? I'm pretty sure it's pretty close. Pretty close enough, right? 2 miles off, that'll work. Dublin, Ireland. The Aer Lingus College Football Classic sends North Carolina and TCU to Aviva Stadium to open the 2026 season on August 29th. The host city is the home of Guinness. Couple of K-State family members had a little tiff in that stadium last year. I'm sure everyone remembers that. I'm also very proud of myself for reading this as UNC and not UNC, because I really wanted to say UNC and TCU, but UNC and TCU kick off the college football season in Dublin, Ireland this Saturday, 11 a.m. Central, folks. 11 a.m. Central, college football kickoff in Ireland. Almost said UNC earlier. Every time I read that now, man, every time I'm talking about the Tar Heels, I got to be careful, right? Got to be careful. All right. Two-time U.S. Open singles champ Arnia Sabalenka hails from this European city where her father played hockey. Nebraska onside kick up 11 in the third quarter last time they played there. Wouldn't have known that, Biz. Wouldn't have known that. Thanks for bringing the Nebraska trivia, but I need help locating Sabalenka's European city home, where her father played hockey. Gotta be Eastern European, right? Sabalenka. That's gotta be Eastern European. Where in Eastern Europe? Not a clue. Yep, I'm with you, Kadar. Unfortunately, a lot of potential in Eastern European. Is she Ukrainian? I feel like I would have. Yes. Yeah. All right, we narrowed it down to these 30 countries, all of them smaller than the states we live in. I feel like I would have heard if she was Ukrainian. I'm not in touch with women's tennis. I'm not going to pretend I am, but I feel like if there was a Ukrainian tennis player tearing up the circuit right now, that's something that would have crossed my timeline, been in the back of my mind. So I'm going to eliminate Ukraine. I don't know if that's smart or not. How can we keep eliminating some Eastern European countries? It doesn't end in ski, so it's not Polish, right? We're going to maybe eliminate some Northern Eastern European countries. Latvia, Lithuania. No ski on the last name. I don't know, folks. Let's just look at the geography of Eastern Europe. We got Hungary. We got Romania. We got Serbia. This guy's Croatia. I really couldn't place any of these countries. I think that's Kosovo, just with the KV, giving that away. I'm like going back to Ukraine, even though I already eliminated it. Well, should we just pray and hope? It's in Ukraine. Let's do it. Why not? Why not? I don't have a better answer. Kadar likes that guess. We're rolling with it. Wow, that's a green line. That's a green line. 170 miles off. I'm going to take that. Minsk, Belarus is what we were looking for. Sabalenka arrives at the 2026 U.S. Open chasing a third straight title. Her father, Sergey, was a pro ice hockey player whom she is credited as the driving force behind her career. Minsk, Belarus is what we were looking for. It kind of worked out. Northern side of Ukraine, not a bad guess. And look, folks, that gets us to 970. All right, we had 300s on there. We're just barely off on a couple of questions. I'll take it. All right, I will take it. Thank you, chat, for helping us out. Now we know where Stanford is. We're not going to miss that question again. And Sabalenka, reigning from Minsk, Belarus. 970. We're going to take it, right? Above that weekly average, above that monthly average. Gotta love it. Moving in the right direction. Shout out Kendall Baker for the questions. Shout out Frank Mike Smith for the game. As always, here we are, folks. We are back. Some fun to start us off. Hey, look, there's some dubs and L's in there. That wasn't in here earlier. We got some dubs and L's to get to today. A couple of SEC teams we're going to be looking at after I give you the moves on the MLB and in the Leagues Cup action tonight. I was about to say on the pitch, but we are sticking to the Leagues Cup, not messing with any of the other stuff on the pitch. I hate when this happens, man. I don't know if anyone else has their toolbar move from their laptop to their monitor frequently, way too often. That's what I was dealing with right there. But all right, folks, we are back. Let's do some MLB. Let's get into some best bets. I do have scribbles out already at bettingnews.com, but let's talk about my two favorite MLB picks today, both involving teams in New York. Both of these games actually being played in New York. We got the Yankees hosting the Houston Astros and the New York Mets hosting the Milwaukee Brewers. So let's talk about it. Let's get these lovely graphics my man Alex made me and talk about some baseball. Yankees, Astros, let's get into it. Will Warren on the bump for the Yankees. Ethan Pecco for the Astros. Pecco, a guy that has only pitched 3.2 innings so far this year, gave up 2 runs to the Angels in those 3.2 innings. Now he faces a competent offense. He's getting thrown into the fire, facing the Yankees on the road. Good luck, Mr. Pecco. You're going to need it. There's still no Aaron Judge. I get it. He's still injured. But the Yankees, they've won 6 of their last 7. They're 33-28 overall at home this year. Will Warren gets the start. Like I said, he is rocking a slightly higher ERA during the month of August through 3 starts. But in his last few at home, he's given up 5, 3, 0, 2, and 2 earned runs. I think he kind of returns to normalcy tonight. I think he's going to shove against this Astros team that is hitting just 234 during the month of August. Haven't been playing great. Yankees have much more to play for as well. So I'll be to do so. Minus 138. If you'd rather play the run line, plus 145, as you can see down below, I think that's a good bet. All right. I do think the Yankees win this game by 2 runs. However, I'll pay the minus 138 juice to just take them to win. Another option would be finding the green book. Let me check these odds for you right now. But if you wanted to tank the Yankees no ninth, the Yankees to not bat in the 9th inning, you're probably going to get plus money. Oh, I always struggle to find this market. Where are we at? Game props, I believe. It's bat in the 9th. Yankees to bat in the 9th. No. Minus 105. Minus 105 for the Yankees to not bat in the 9th. Again, that is basically a green book exclusive. Haven't been able to find it anywhere else. But it's a great way to take some juice off of these heavy home favorites without having to back them on the run line. A great middle ground here if you don't want to pay the minus 138 for the Yankees to win. If you don't want to pay the plus 145 for the Yankees to win by 2, take the Yankees to not bat in the 9th. Green book exclusive at minus 105. But minus 138, good enough for me on the money line for the Yankees tonight. Give me the Yanks over Ethan Pecco and the Astros. Next up, going across to Queens, where the New York Mets are hosting the Milwaukee Brewers, and I do not think it is going to go well for the Mets. Both teams throwing out southpaws. We've got lefty Kyle Harrison for the Milwaukee Brewers. We've got lefty Zach Thornton for the New York Mets. We're back in the Brewers by 2 tonight at plus 114. Plus 1. Oh, yeah. Okay. I was reading this wrong. Plus 107 on Lucky Rebel right now. Plus 114. Best number I found for the Brewers minus the 1.5. Yes, I am once again backing the Brewers. Kyle Harrison on the bump for the Brewers, having his best statistical season of his career. Just reached 10 wins for the first time ever. Yes, his splits are much better at home than on the road, but he's still a solid pitcher. He gets plenty of run support. I don't have any worries with him facing the Mets tonight. He just pitched 5 shutout innings against Milwaukee on Tuesday, a week ago last Tuesday. The Brewers won that game 22-0, folks. 22-0. Kyle Harrison got plenty of run support in that game. He didn't need it. Pitched 5 shutout innings, allowed just 2 hits overall. Prior to that, He he pitched 5 scoreless innings against the Pirates as well. In those 2 starts, 10 total innings pitched, 0 runs allowed, just 3 hits, 3 walks, and 18 strikeouts during that stretch. Kyle Harrison's got it. All right, they have already beaten this Mets team twice this year. They covered the run line once. Milwaukee, they are sitting on top of the NL Central. They're 5.5 games ahead of the Cubs. The Mets, last place of the NL East, 17 games out of first place. One team has much more to play for. One team does not. I see much higher motivation on the Milwaukee side of things. I think they're going to come out and get this win by 2 runs today on the road. So give me the Brewers minus the 1.5 at plus 114 in the MLB tonight. Those are my 2 MLB plays, folks. That's it. All I've got today, those 2 MLB picks. Taking one New York team, fading the other as we back the Yankees on the money line minus 138. Again, Yankees no ninth on the green book at minus 105. Great way to get some juice off of this play if you don't want to pay the minus 138. And then again, the Brewers on the run line. Brewers minus the 1.5 at plus 114 is what we are rolling with. Like I said, those scribbles already out there at bettingnews.com, so go peep those there right now. Yankees, Brewers, get the job done tonight, please, and thank you. All right, moving on. We're going to talk some soccer, folks, because we've got Leagues Cup action on the pitch tonight. Like I said, plenty of other soccer this afternoon. Carabao Cup, La Liga, Champions League qualifying. You got it all, right? But I am going to focus in on these 2 Leagues Cup quarterfinal matches tonight. First one at 7:30 Central in Chicago. Second one at 9:30 Central out in Denver on a neutral site. So let's talk about these 2 matchups and see if we can find any plays, because I have not written these scribbles yet. I will have soccer scribbles out for you at Betting News shortly after this show. But let's talk as Monterey comes to the Midwest to take on the Chicago Fire tonight in the Leagues Cup quarterfinals. Like I said, folks, 1 match. These are not 2-leg contests. This is one and done, single elimination, 1 match, 1 chance to move on. If things are tied after 90 minutes, we will go directly into a penalty kick shootout. No extra time, none of that. Straight into a PK shootout to decide a winner. With that in mind, most of your bets are going to be settled after 90 minutes. Total, money lines, spread, whatever, it's going to be settled after 90 minutes, all right? Anything that happens in the PK shootout won't matter unless you take a market of either team to advance, right? That's going to be the market that includes a penalty kick shootout. So if we pull up Lucky Rebel right now, get these Leagues Cup matches in front of our eyes, looking at the lines, Monterey and Chicago. So Chicago is plus 125 on the money line right now. Monterey plus 180, as you can see. But if we wanted to look just at the advance market to advance to the next round, this includes the PK shootout. Monterey plus 107, Chicago minus 128. That is to move on to the next round. In 90 minutes, in a PK shootout, however they want, those are the lines to advance to the next round. Monterey plus 107, Chicago minus 128. The books do think there's a good chance of Chicago ending this in 90 minutes based on the money line right there. Chicago's been playing very, very well, both in the Leagues Cup and on the MLS. Bit of a revenge factor for Monterey tonight, though. Hugo Kuipers was the leading goal scorer for the Chicago Fire midway through the MLS season. They shipped him off to Mexico. They brought in 30-whatever-year-old Robert Lewandowski to be their guy rather than sticking with this young 29-year-old up-and-coming striker. Shipped him off, brought in Robert Lewandowski. Hugo is going to be playing with a little extra fire in him today. No pun intended. He's going to be playing with some extra fire against his former team, the Chicago Fire. 3 goals already in the Leagues Cup for Mr. Hugo. Another MLS guy, Diego Rossi, came over from the Columbus Crew to Monterey. He's got a goal and an assist as well in this League's Cup. Lucas Ocampo's there as well. This Monterey team is really stacked, especially in the attack. Defensively is where things fall off a little bit. As you can see, the over 2.5 priced at -160. So books clearly think there's going to be some scoring tonight. Taking a look at the both teams to score market, -200. What I am kind of inclined to do in this spot is take the Fire with maybe an inflated over or maybe just the regular over. Right now, I'm seeing the Chicago Fire to advance. All right, that's important. To advance, not on the money line. Chicago Fire to advance, and the over 1.5 goals is -103. Might be able to line shop that and get plus money. But the alternative would be Chicago to advance and the over 2.5. That gets you to +168. Let me do a little line shopping real quick just to see if we can get that plus sign on the first same game parlay, because I would much rather be inclined to take that and get, a 2-0 Chicago win. See what they let me put into this good old parlay builder. 3-way results. No. It looks like they're making it a little difficult for you to parlay a team to advance. At least on this book. -103 might be the move there. Chicago to advance and the over 2.5. I'm also seeing an over a flat 3 listed at -108, which is enticing because I do see this 2-1 in Chicago's favor, maybe a 3-1 game, maybe even a 3-2 game, but regardless, we should get at least 3 total goals. In theory, giving us a push. I think I like that a little bit more. I think I just like the over 3 with push potential. Over 3 with push potential, probably going to be the move. Monterey played good in the League's Cup, went back for a couple of Liga MX games, beat up Juarez 6-1, were shut out by Leon on the road. It looks like they even conceded a PK up a man to Leon. Chicago, on the other side of things, 1-1 with the Red Bulls, gave up an 85th minute equalizer. Other than that, 6 straight wins prior to that. I got to lean with Chicago here. Don't think I'm going to get there on the 90-minute money line. What if we did a Chicago double chance? Chicago double chance with the over 2.5 at +130. I mean, we'd survive a 2-2. 2-1 Monterey wouldn't get us there. I think I like that. I think that's what we're going to roll with. A little cheeky same game parlay, +130. Chicago on the double chance line, and over 2.5. 2-1 Chicago gets us there. A 2-2 draw gets us there. 3-0 Chicago gets us there. 3-1 Chicago gets us there. Yep, I think that's what we're going to roll with. I'm going to lock that in, +130 right meow. Chicago double chance and the over 2.5 little same game parlay in this first League's Cup quarterfinal matchup. +130. Chicago double chance and the over 2.5. +130 for that little same game parlay. Let's hit that. We'll walk away with some profit. Right? Won't even have to worry about the late game. Plus 130, Chicago double chance, and the over 2.5. Lock that in for the first Leagues Cup matchup of the evening. Like I said, I will have scribbles out there for these two games, here in a little bit. But that's what we're rolling with, Chicago double chance and the over 2.5. All right, moving on to the later match on a neutral site. For whatever reason, we've got Leon and Real Salt Lake going head-to-head in Denver, outside of Denver, in Commerce City, Colorado, at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. Real Salt Lake and Leon meeting up on a neutral site for this Leagues Cup quarterfinal. Leon's been good, and they've been like scary. Don't know if I want to fade them good. 4 straight wins for this team. 2 straight in the Leagues Cup. 2 straight in Liga MX as well. Looks like they did play a club friendly in between some of those games as well. But Leon, basically, since the season started, opened up with 2 losses. They lost to Atlas at home. They lost to Tijuana on the road. Calendar turned to August. They've turned it on. They beat Pachuca. They beat Nashville. They beat Orlando. They beat Inter. They beat Necaxa. They beat Monterrey. Excluding that club friendly, 6 straight wins. 6 straight wins for Leon, excluding that club friendly. Now, Real Salt Lake's been playing good as well. Coming off a loss to Orlando City on the road. Actually have lost 2 straight in MLS play. But Real Salt Lake might be focusing on the Leagues Cup for whatever reason. Drew with Tigres in their opening match in a battle. Then you shut out Atlante. You shut out Juarez. You go back to MLS playing, you get your butt kicked. But now you're playing another Liga MX side. This feels to me like Real Salt Lake is more focused on the Leagues Cup than the MLS. Whether or not that's the right decision for the club, up for debate. But based on the lineups, the rotation, the effort we're getting, it seems like Real Salt Lake caring much more about the Leagues Cup. Now, the odds are reflecting that as well. RSL came down from a plus 130 money line all the way down to plus 110, plus 115 on Lucky Rebel right now. I'm definitely leaning with the MLS side here. They're dealing with less travel, international travel and distance-wise. They have clearly flipped a switch during this competition that maybe they're having trouble finding in the MLS. Looks like in that Orlando City game, they're actually up 1-0 36 minutes into the match. Gave up a brace from Antoine Griezmann to lose. Looks like a similar situation against FC Dallas. Down 2-0. Eventually get it to 2-0. Eventually get it to 3-2. Or excuse me, eventually get it to 3-3. Give up a 90-minute winner to FC Dallas at home. I got to lean with Real Salt Lake here. Let's look at the lines. Because plus 115 on the money line, plus 110, not enticing. That's something that we've kind of missed the best number. I'm not going to play that market. I'm seeing Real Salt Lake minus 154 just to advance. In regulation, in PK shootout, doesn't matter. Real Salt Lake to advance at minus 154. The under's also enticing me because I feel like Leon comes into this match defensive, maybe playing for that scoreless draw, yearning to get to a PK shootout. Real Salt Lake to advance and under 3.5 plus 140. You could even go under 4.5 at minus 114. I think I want that extra cushion. think I want that under 4.5, just in case we see a 2-2 draw that RSL wins in a shootout. We're going to cover our butt, and we've already got plus money for the first game. RSL to advance and the under 4.5. Minus 114 is what I'm seeing right now on Lucky Rebel. I think we're going to lock that in. If I can get it on the correct tab in my good old-fashioned spreadsheet here. Leagues Cup. Couple of parlays. And we only need to split for profit, assuming we hit the first one, right? Chicago double chance. And the over 2.5 at plus 130. That was on Bet Online. And then we're going to roll with Leagues Cup parlay. Nope, not that. Let's spell. Real Salt Lake to advance, just to move on. And the under 4.5, that's a 90-minute wager, minus 114. That'll play. All right. 2 soccer bets for the evening. Monterey, Chicago. Take Chicago plus the half. Chicago double chance. Pair it with the over 2.5, plus 130 on Bet Online for Chicago. Double chance, over 2.5, plus 130. And then in the second game, Leon and Real Salt Lake. We're taking Real Salt Lake to advance and the under 4.5 at minus 114. Little same game parlay in each of those contests for your viewing pleasure. Again, we hit that first one, we walk away with profit. Don't even have to worry about RSL. Chicago, get the job done, please and thank you. And then we'll have a relaxing evening watching RSL beat up on Lyon. All right, folks, that's what we got. MLB, Leagues Cup, locked in. 4 bets for you. Brewers on the run line, minus the 1.5, plus 114. Do your line shopping. Get the best number available, plus 114, the best I found on the Blue Book. This one also on the Blue Book, the Yankees, minus 138 on the money line. If you don't want to pay the juice, go to the Green Book. Yankees, no ninth, minus 105. If you have more stones than I, Yankees, minus 1.5, plus 145 on the Diamond tonight. And then 2 Leagues Cup picks, Chicago plus a half and the over 2.5 at plus 130. And then Real Salt Lake to advance and the under 4.5 at minus 114. That's what we got, folks. That is what we are rolling with tonight on the Diamond, on the pitch. Let's switch gears. Turn our attention to the SEC as we have a couple of SEC teams we got to talk about today for Dubs and L's, continuing this segment right up until week 0 on the college football realm. If I can find these teams in this lovely magazine, that'd be glorious. Auburn, boom, there's Auburn. There's one of them. Boom, South Carolina right next to them. Gotta love that. Let's talk about the Tigers. Let's talk about the Gamecocks, that is, of South Carolina. Auburn, South Carolina, SEC teams continuing our Dubs and L's train here. Auburn's on top. We're going to start with Auburn. All right. What's up with Auburn? Well, they've got a new head coach, Alex Galesh, coming over from South Florida, led the Bulls to a great year last year. Now he's the head coach at Power 4 Auburn. Alex Galesh bringing over his starting quarterback, Byron Brown, going to be the guy for the Auburn Tigers, who also lost wide receiver Cam Coleman. Take a big hit there, but Byron Brown, a good guy. Now, Auburn returns just 1 offensive starter from last year. They got 5 from South Florida in the portal. Also only returning 3 defensive starters, picked up 1 in the portal as well. Auburn, you are going to have probably a better season than you have in the past. Looking at Auburn's past results, 5-7 last year with a bowl. 5-7 last year, didn't make a bowl game. 5-7 the year before that, didn't make a bowl game. 6-6 in 2023, lost a bowl game. 5-7 in 2022. Didn't make a bowl. 6-7 in 2021. 6-6 in the regular season. Another bowl loss. Auburn actually hasn't won a bowl game since 2018. Based off this research right here, have not won a bowl game since 2018. 4 straight bowl losses since then. In 23, 21, 20, and 19. 4 straight bowl losses. Haven't won since 2018. Can you get back towards the top of the SEC? I'm not going to say the very top because Auburn is not going to compete with Georgia and Texas and Alabama, but could they be back in the top half of the SEC? Maybe. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Auburn's schedule. Starting off against Baylor, neutral site game in Atlanta. Auburn gets the win here. Baylor sucks. Dave Aranda on the hot seat. Baylor going to be one of the worst teams in the Big 12. Auburn, a team that is trending in the right direction, even if they haven't quite gotten where they are yet. Auburn beats Baylor. Auburn beats Southern Miss. And I also think they can beat Florida coming into town. Had this game been in the swamp, I might lean a little bit more towards the Gators, but I like Auburn's pieces a lot better than what John Summerall's brought in at Florida. So give me Auburn to get that win against Florida. And then I also think they beat Vandy at home as well at Jordan O'Hare. Vandy just announced they're going to be starting senior for their starting quarterback. God, what's his name? Blake Berkowitz, I think. I might be butchering that last name. I'm also flipping the wrong way on this magazine. Berlowitz. Blake Berlowitz. Going to be the starting quarterback for the Vanderbilt Commodores. Not true freshman Jared Curtis like we thought. So I think that takes a hit for Vandy eventually. I think Jared Curtis probably going to be the starter towards the end of the season. But in Auburn, week 5, give me Auburn to, week 4 to get that victory. So Auburn starting off 4-0. They're hot. They're red hot. People are talking. Is Alex Galesh going to get this Power 4 program to the college football playoff in his first year? But then you look at the rest of their SEC schedule. At Tennessee, loss. Knoxville, tough place to play, 4-1. Bye week. Then you go to Athens and get murdered by the Bulldogs, 4-2. You host LSU. I think this is a game Auburn can probably win. Being at home, not sure if Lane Kiffin and LSU have completely gelled this point in the season. I'll give Auburn that win. 5-2. At Ole Miss, that's a loss. 5-3. Arkansas, everybody's beating Arkansas. 6-3. At Mississippi State's gonna give you trouble. I think the Bulldogs can upset that one. 5-4. 6-4. Samford, you win that. 7-4. You lose to Alabama at home. 7-5. It's a winning record, Auburn. That gets you to a bowl game. Maybe gets you a favorable bowl game, one you can actually win. 7-5 for the Auburn Tigers. Let's take a look at the win total, see how it compares. Don't think it's going to be overly enticing. I can't imagine it's much off from that 7.5 range. Over 6.5, -120. I wouldn't be willing to bet it. 7-5, I kind of see as the ceiling for this Auburn team. 6-6, probably more likely. 5-7 certainly could be the floor. 4-8 maybe is the real floor if we're talking. But Auburn, 7-5 at best. Over 6.5 for their win total would be my lean, but I'm not going to take that. -120 is what I'm seeing for the over 6.5. Again, if it was plus money, maybe I would have different thoughts, but I've got 7 win totals out there. Don't need to add another one. So Auburn, you're safe. We're not going to fade you. We're not going to tail you this season. South Carolina, on the other hand, Lenora Sellers, still their quarterback. Still quarterback. Lenora Sellers, 4-8 last year. That doesn't get the job done. 4-8 does not get the job done for this South Carolina team. Shane Beamer looking to get them back towards the top of the SEC, just like Auburn. South Carolina's been in a rebuild for a while now, right? Lenora Sellers was supposed to be the guy. He was everybody's favorite dark horse Heisman candidate last year. How'd that work out? Not great. Not great. Can he do it this year? I don't know, but he's starting off with a pretty favorable schedule, 2 wins over Kent State and Towson. I also think South Carolina can beat Mississippi State at home. Mississippi State going to be frisky, going to be good for competing against the top dogs in the SEC, but only at home. On the road here in Columbia, I like South Carolina to get the win. At Alabama, there's your first loss, 3-1 on the year. You beat Kentucky. Everybody should beat Kentucky, 4-1. At Florida, in the swamp, sorry, I think John Summerall gets you there, 4-2. Bye week, then you host Tennessee, you go to Oklahoma, and you host Texas A&M off a bye. 3 losses. 3 losses, making it 4 straight losses for the Gamecocks. I have you 4-4. That's not right. Let's do math. Kent State, Towson. Mississippi State's a win. Kentucky's a win. There's 4. 4-5. 4-5 wins in the first 3 games of the year and against Kentucky. 4-5 going into those last few games. At Arkansas, even on the road in Fayetteville, everyone should beat Arkansas this year. What'd I say? 4-5, 5-5. Georgia beats you 5-6 at Clemson. I got to kind of lean with Clemson there. 5-7 for the Gamecocks. 5-7 for the Gamecocks. Over 6.5 wins at even money. Under 6.5 at -122. I'm going to hold off of this one as well. Too close to call. Leaning with that under, but again, looking at the rest of my portfolio, 7 win totals already. Don't really need to pay any more juice for another one. So, South Carolina, although I think you're comfortably under the 6.5 win total, I'm going to hold off. 5-7 for the Gamecocks, 7-5 for the Auburn Tigers. Dubs and L's continuing here on the Betting News Network. Again, these win totals, folks, they're tight. They are razor sharp lines for a reason. Books clearly know what they're doing. Tough to find edges. So a lot of these are just going to be holding off, right? Even if we're comfortable 2 games ahead of the projection, probably going to just hold off based off where these totals are at, based on our current portfolio already. No need to go crazy, right? Because this is also money that's going to be tied up for 6 months. We don't need that. We don't need that. We'll be betting these games individually. We'll be fading South Carolina. We might find some spots to back Auburn, but that is the outlook of both of these teams from myself for the upcoming college football season. Auburn 7-5, South Carolina 5-7. We'll see how it goes. But folks, that is about all the time I've got for you today here on the Morning Spread. Now, if you come on back for Afternoon Espresso, the boys will be live. 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern. They're going to be talking about MLB. They're going to be talking some WNBA. They're going to be talking all best bets for tonight, as well as the chat Fantasy League draft order is going to be drawn tonight. So if you're playing in our chat Fantasy Football League, tune in to BetSpresso, 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern. We will determine your draft order live on the show. SPJ, Vsauce, and our good friend PJ are going to be live for you on Afternoon BetSpresso. And then a little later, PJ and I going to regroup with Beast McNeese for the second episode of Study Hall. Recording tonight, should be out tomorrow about midday. Any week 0 props yet? No, Kev, not yet. No player props yet. I did put out an article yesterday going over some of my tips and tricks to beating the NCAA player prop market. We have had 3 profitable seasons betting on NCAA football player props, especially in those 2-unit plays. So we're going to be on the lookout for it. I might not have any for week 0 specifically, just with it being a smaller slate, only 8 games. Books don't have as many props to keep track of. Maybe there's a few less edges in this week 0 slate, but no props right now. I will have player props the rest of the weeks throughout the season. Not going to promise you any for this week 0 slate, but the one bet I have pressed Kev, is UNLV minus the 5.5 at minus 110 over the Memphis Tigers. I'm going to talk about it tonight on Study Hall, so you'll hear about it tomorrow morning. But UNLV, Dan Mullen, great coach. Memphis in a rebuild as Ryan Silverfield and most of the coaches and players jump ship left for Arkansas. I already told you how Arkansas is probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league. Memphis is going to be bad as well, trying to rebuild, trying to get back to the top of the American. Now, based off the American betting odds, they still think Memphis is going to be a top 5 team in that conference. I'm not personally convinced. I don't think so. I think they're in for a rough year. UNLV, however, I think they're in for a great year. Dan Mullen, second year on the job, plenty of experience as a head coach, bringing in a Power 4 talent to be the quarterback. Jackson Arnold spent time at Oklahoma, spent time at Auburn. Now he's playing at UNLV. Maybe that makes you turn your nose up on this guy. He couldn't succeed at the Power 4 level. What makes you think he's going to do so at UNLV? Well, number one, he's playing a lot less competition, right? Power 4 versus G6. There's just a talent discrepancy there. UNLV also has quarterback Alex Orji on the roster as well. He will be the backup. Apparently, both of them are going to get tick on Saturday from Dan Mullen. That's what he came out and said, is both of these quarterbacks are going to play. Regardless, Orji spent some time at Michigan as well. So he is a Power 4 talent as well, playing in a G6 competition level. I think UNLV is just going to blow them away. The opening line was -3 towards UNLV. It has steamed up to 5.5. Typically, that line movement would be enough for me to stay off, but I'm just very confident in this UNLV team winning by at least a touchdown. I booked the 5.5 when there were some 6.5s out there. It looks like there's been some buyback at 6.5. It's come on down to 5.5, basically the rest of the market. I don't see it ticking back down towards a field goal. If anything, I think 5.5 is kind of the floor right now. Maybe it gets back up to 6.5 or 7 on Saturday, but the 5.5 is good for me. I think UNLV can win by 6. I think they can win by a touchdown, maybe even double digits. I also saw a great stat, and I am going to look it up because I'm not going to butcher this, because I actually sent it to myself. From Tommy Lorenzen, Dan Mullen, UNLV head coach in season openers. All right, Dan Mullen in his 15th season as a college football coach, 12-2 straight up in season openers, 8-6 against the spread. It's over a 57% hit rate on the spread, over an 85% hit rate on the money line. So UNLV -5.5, the one bet I've already placed for week 0. I will also tell you I have UNLV in a parlay as well on the money line. UNLV money line, my most confident parlay piece of the week 0 slate. UNLV and TCU, great money line pieces. I like Eastern Michigan as well. And I'll tell you right now, Grandma Corey's parlay are going to be making a return to the college football world. I have one locked in already. I will share it tonight on Study Hall, but 3 teams just to win on Saturday. We've got 2 FBS teams. We actually have 1 FCS team as well. 3 money lines just to win. Eastern Michigan, Montana, and UNLV. 3 teams on the money line. Eastern Michigan, I blanked for a second. Eastern Michigan, Montana, and UNLV. 3 teams just to win, plus 101 is what I found for those 3 money lines. So that is the return of the Grandma Corey parlay. Those 3 teams to win, as well as UNLV minus the 5.5. That is what I've booked already right now for week 0. I will continue to share my week 0 bets all week long in preparation of Saturday. But Kev, as far as player props, probably not going to have any this weekend. Probably going to look more towards week 1 to start diving into the player prop market. But great question. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. As always, come on back to Betspresso, 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern, and I will be here same time, same place tomorrow morning. Once again, a reminder, Friday's show will be a half hour earlier. All right, 10 o'clock Central every day this week, half hour earlier on Friday, just for Friday. It's just a one-off. Like I said, Daddy's got a doctor's appointment. So Friday's show, half hour earlier, but we'll still be here. getting you guys ready for the week 0 props. That is all I got, folks. I will see you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Peace out.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? Down in the deep.
Now I know y'all be loving this shit right here.
Rolling.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Down in the rolling.
What you gonna do? Right, y'all be loving this shit.
What you know about